Cool, guys. Maybe we'll just kick it off. We'll start with some easy, light stuff from my end, and then when Chris hops on, we can talk a little bit more about what's happening right now in real time. So this our win clause token design contest. For those listening who perhaps weren't aware or didn't participate, we ran a token design for our upcoming launch. Submissions close on Wednesday. Lots of really great submissions in. Teams just working now to kind of round them all up, pick a top 10, and then throw them out to the community for voting. So excited for that. If you missed out on our limited edition merch launch last week, and that wasn't really sort of the thing you were looking for, not to worry. We have some new merch coming soon. We're just working on finalizing that piece. So we want people out there repping Badger and feeling good about it. So just wanted to let everybody know that's coming down the pipeline. And I see Chris has joined now. So maybe I'll throw it over to you, Chris, and you can kind of kick it off, talk about what's happening right now.
Thanks, buddy. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. So what's the latest and greatest? Well, we've been plugging away since the last time we spoke. In the next hour or so, we're going to launch the WBTC Vault, our first single asset WBTC Vault, in collaboration with Yearn. So it's powered by Yearn in the background, and our teams are going to continue to collaborate to drive additional strategies in the vault and optimize, I guess you would call it the APY, or the returns that the vault organically generates. But that's very exciting. And as we go into next week, it's again just really about shipping things out the door that we've been working hard on the last couple months, and that speaks specifically to what our mission is, right? Which is bringing Bitcoin to DeFi. But yeah, that's for the most part, that's what is on deck. The bridge is next. The bridge is exciting. We'll have a mint and earn functionality, and we have a lot of support and good partnership with Ren around this, much more than just using the Ren VM. And then subsequent to that, we're going to get interest-bearing Bitcoin out the door, and we're going to be making a big push on how do you have interest-bearing Bitcoin as a collateral asset everywhere on all chains, essentially. But yeah, that's really the extent of it. I didn't want to go too deep, just because last week we spent pretty big session around all this stuff. But I don't know, Frog and John, did you want to touch some of the things that are happening on DIGG and also some of the governance proposals? I don't think there was that many that went through this week.
Yeah, sure. Real quick, in terms of governance, no, you're right. There hasn't been anything since last week, but we have the month 4 grants BIP that's still pending. We'll be posting that in the very short term once we kind of iron out a couple of details. And in terms of snapshot, I actually don't think we had anything else come up. Maybe John could give an update in terms of the Opolis BIP that we had. And I know John's been working on some additional things for DIGG as well.
Sure. Yeah, I can run through those. Thanks, Rock. So to touch on the Opolis BIP number 49, definitely one of the more, I guess, contentious BIPs. I think to that point, they've been pretty clear. And, I think it was something very new that we were even, putting out there. And, we being, we had been talking with the Opolis team. The Opolis team obviously was the team that posted it. And, I think the internally, the team was definitely, I think collectively not like, we weren't like, okay, well, we have to do this. We thought it was very interesting. We wanted to get the community feedback on it. Some people had stronger opinions one way or the other, but it was definitely a good experience to kind of like, all right, well, what does a BIP look like when it's not like a complete slam dunk? Because most of them seem to pass with pretty high coverage, with pretty universal support. Sometimes it's just spending time to get some clarity, answer some questions in the forum, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the clear feedback from the BIP was, the concerns were is the Badger team equipped to kind of really be evaluating deals of this sort? Is that something that the project should be doing? A lot of people were very supportive of it. I think pretty much everyone got the value of Opolis, but we took that, and Opolis took back. Their angle. They don't want to go through the normal funding channels. They want to kind of be aligned with projects in DeFi, and they're working with a number of other projects to kind of get the funding they need to get over the hump and kind of get to scale. So we went back to them. They took the feedback, and we've been kind of talking to them over the past couple weeks since that BIP, was posted, and basically distilled the deal terms, adjusted the deal terms a bit. And so keep an eye out. I think the path that we're looking to take will be to the BIP did pass. It's I think 68% or 67% positive right now. Obviously context being that usually we're 80+%. So we took that as a strong okay, community kind of supports this, but it's not a slam dunk. So what we went back and did is worked with them on the terms a little bit, worked with them on some of the the terms are presented, and then we'll be adjusting the BIP with those updated terms. And a lot of it was just kind of pulling back the size of the deal, not necessarily having Badger be pegged as the lead, but in distilling down what our allocation of tokens actually looks like, and then some clearer numbers on kind of where they're looking for growth. So not you can't share all of them right now, but it looks like there's going to be a number of other well-known DeFi projects kind of participating in this round, kind of helping them, like I said, get the runway they need to meet meet their goals. So keep an eye out for that. I think the process we're going to take is kind of update the BIP, share it out in the general channels, get feedback, and then roll to snapshot from there. So hopefully people will take to that well. So that's Opolis on DIGG. There's been a bit of a gap since the last thing we did with DIGG with the meme contest, and during this time we've been working on the DIGG stabilization vault with the stabilized team. I held office hours yesterday. I think we had probably 30 people at the peak, 20, 30 people participate in that. To kind of go over what the stability vault is and how it works. So that is currently in audit with QuantStamp right now. We are looking to hopefully get that launched in more of a gated capacity with a cap sometime over the next week or so. So we want to get that out pretty soon to start seeing how that operates live in the market. And the one big takeaway of it is that it really helps for that vault if DIGG is above peg at the time that it's launched, so it can start kind of stocking away WBTC to then fund the purchases when it's below peg. So we are also working on some new kind of initiatives that will help us get to that state and aligning that with the launch of the vault. So some really cool stuff we're very excited about on that front. Should be very interesting with a partner. So keep an eye out for that as well. So that's DIGG and Opolis. I'll pause there and peruse my list to see if there are any other major updates. Chris, anything you wanted to touch on with DIGG?
No, I think just in general, I'm personally really excited about, the next couple months for a variety of reasons. One, Stability Vault, obviously, some of the, the mechanics that we've been working on that we'll release next week that are separate from the Stability Vault that help get us to peg before that. And then also some of the experiments that we're going to be able to put forward with Uniswap v3. I think there's some really cool stuff that we can do there. Again, it all speaks to being able to get it to a peg state before a lot of those things can be of impact over a sustainable period of time. But I think we can get there, and then with that, it just gets me super optimistic around what the future looks like. If we get DIGG to that place and we move out of this extreme volatility, there's going to be a lot more protocols that want DIGG, especially as it, builds a larger market cap and there's a lot more holders and liquidity. They're going to want DIGG, as a collateral asset within their protocol and ecosystem, which, further solidifies the utility of the asset and brings to light the power of, BDIGG as it relates to what other rebasing assets can't do, because of the limitations of the rebasing mechanics. But other than that, John, I'd say, having this time, over the last, let's call it, couple months, building, and then now get into the finish line and having some clarity around like what that adjustment in focus and strategy should look like. We're gonna become much more aggressive in attracting different talent, developer talent to Badger. Like, we've been very fortunate as our protocol and team and community has grown substantially, that we haven't necessarily needed to, go to the community or market for different talent levels. But I think now with a better structure, we're going to. So even anybody on this call, if you're interested in getting involved in Badger, and primarily we're looking for some additional Solidity developers, those that want to focus on building unique, Bitcoin strategies, helping optimize and maximize the vault infrastructure and system. Feel free to reach out to me directly. Come in the Discord. There's a volunteer here channel in the Discord. Share a little bit about yourself, and then we have like a dedicated Discord server for the builders in the community, and we can invite you in there, and we can get you, rocking and rolling here. So I guess just a call to action for anyone that wants to be working on really cool stuff as it relates to Bitcoin and bringing Bitcoin to DeFi. I'd ask if anyone from the audience wants to share their Badger story, how they got into Badger. Anyone from the audience that has any questions, anyone that wants to just chat and say what's up or hello or provide feedback or whatever it may be, give any suggestions. What do you guys think? You think we're good to start having people jump up?
Yeah. I think I guess the only other point of focus on our end coming up is admission stuff. I don't know if you went into that last week, but I think we're finally making real progress on the geyser removal Badger boost. I know there was the kind of the Badger score first unveiled this week in relation to the vault, and I guess I wasn't on last week, but that's kind of the first major thing into tying Badger, the token, more closely to the app. So that's something I'm also very excited about, to start getting those things in place. So just as far as stuff that, hopefully we'll have more updates on, next week, out to that in that category. But yeah, and totally down if anyone's got any questions or wants to chat, hop on up.
Yeah, and actually, John, now that you bring it up, last week we went through a ton of updates, and one of those updates was touching on zero confirmation. I gave a brief overview of your protocol and the nature of the deal between Badger and zero confirmation, but maybe maybe we should take a couple minutes to go over like any call to action and the plans for rebooting zero confirmation and utilizing it with Badger as it relates to staking or anything else we want to share to get the folks informed about zero confirmation.
Yeah, totally. So I guess I did the AMA on it. I guess it was a couple weeks ago now, right before the snapshot. So yeah, totally a good idea now that everything is kind of passed, to circle back and say, okay, well, what does that really mean? So snapshot passed on the deal, and to give a little context, Mitch and I had been working on zero confirmation for a while, along with a couple other folks. And then once we started as long-term contributors on Badger, we started contributing with Badger early on, working on a lot of the DAO stuff. And, quite honestly, like, part of my motivation was like, great, we're going to work on all this DAO stuff here with Badger. And then when we want to launch zero confirmation DAO, we can just, fork it, use it, and, partner with Badger or whatever. And it'll be great. Like, a lot of that structure will already be built and we've got experience with it. That'll be awesome. And then, we kind of moved into more, leadership long-term roles with Badger. and then zero confirmation was kind of put on pause for a while. So this is rolling it back in as part of the incubator, allows us to kind of get back involved in it and kind of help usher it and get it to scale, as part of the Badger roadmap, which is, very exciting for us, since something we put a lot of effort into. So what that means functionally, we've had a couple meetings so far, kind of figuring out like what are the next steps. We need to build out a team that's going to be focusing on zero confirmation, whether it's collection of people kind of part-time, people that are more focused on it full-time. We have there will be a token distributed for the DAO, when we're ready for that launch, and there's some assets in the treasury, and we can use those things to kind of help form that team. And we will be active in its development and direction, but we being those of us that are also on the Badger team, obviously we're working on the Badger roadmap and prioritizing that as well. So functionally, I think the kind of next steps, we're going to open up a Discord with some folks in there. There's a form floating around for if anyone's interested as participating in the early contributor program. We're looking for people that can help do some risk analysis. We're looking for developers. We're looking for community managers. Really across the board. Really, it's going to be kind of how Badger started. Frog and I were just people in the community in the Discord helping out prior to launch, and kind of stuck around. And now we're core team members. So I think the same model can work with zero confirmation. And it's not as much of a user focused project. It's more of a background, in the background middleware thing. So it's not something that's going to need a lot of hype. Need a lot of people on the front lines working with the community. It's going to be more focused on integrating with the existing protocols. So the next kind of functional steps is we're working on kind of the short-term and mid-term roadmap of, okay, what do we need to build and what do we want to have in place before actually launching? And that's both technically and team-wise. So team-wise, like I said, there's a forum. We'll open up the Discord. We'll kind of see who shows interest and rises to the top, as far as kind of showing leadership ability and just interest in running with it. It's part of some of the faith and working on the project, finding interest in it, seeing value in it, and wanting to put your time into it. So we'll focus on that, and then technically we'll have some roadmap items. We need to do some refactoring. We're going to kick off the audit for the protocol. There's a couple other modules I think we would like to have built in place. So a lot of needs for like documentation. So if we can find folks to kind of help us with that, everything that we can do, the more people that come in and help, the faster this thing will launch. We have, like I said, we have the Badger roadmap. We'll keep kind of chugging away on the zero confirmation thing, but the more people we have, the faster we'll get there. And that's how, the zero confirmation app, how we'll kind of get, protocol, how we'll get that kind of out and live. And then, part of that is also me focusing on the Badger side of things, which is more like the general incubator and how we want to, launch projects out of the annex. And we're looking at different models for doing like stake drops. We want to tie the value of this to the Badger token, and we don't want to do just okay, everyone who holds Badger, you get X amount of zero confirmation token. I think what Badger really brings to a project is a great community, and community is great when it's focused, especially when you're trying to launch something. So basically, we don't want to just say okay, everyone gets it, and then if everyone gets the same amount, then like no one really necessarily cares more than anyone else to help the project. So at least a portion of the component of the token allocation that's going to go to Badger holders will be distributed through some sort of stake drop mechanism where maybe you lock up your Badger for a certain period of time and you're giving up opportunity cost of using it elsewhere, to then earn a higher percentage of the zero confirmation token relative to those who don't do that staking. So that's the baseline of kind of how we're thinking about it, and the exact mechanics we'll have to work out. And ideally, there'll be more things like this to do in the future. So you have to decide, okay, do I want to stake and then maybe put my time and effort into zero confirmation to help that be as successful as possible, so that my portion of the drop that I'm getting higher relative to others, so maybe we're staking towards another project, that I think this is where the best value is. So that's how we kind of think about it, and working on that model as well. So no direct timelines for anything. Like I said, the next step will probably be just keeping an eye out for posting for the short-term roadmap, probably like a bounty board of sorts, how we're handling the um, early contributor component, and then getting the Discord. And if you're interested, we're looking for people to help really across the board. So just keep an eye out for that, and step up if you want to contribute, and hopefully we'll find a great crew to kind of take this thing to scale.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess maybe a 2 sentence summary of what the zero confirmation does. So for those of you who have
Yep.
used so
I guess that
for
would help
those of
too.
you that
Yeah.
have a lot of we got to work on this, and some people might not know what exactly, but
Yeah.
at a high level, like with zero confirmation, for those of you that have used RenVM or RenBridge, there's kind of a high friction for users in that when you send your native Bitcoin to RenVM, you have to wait 6 Bitcoin confirmations, which typically is around an hour. What zero confirmation does is take that hour and reduce it all the way down to like less than a minute, taking on the risk of double spend, but taking on a small fee and having a pool of assets that allows them to reduce that friction and have a much more seamless user experience. And ultimately, this results in the ability to eventually trade native asset to native asset. So for those of you that have seen like Thorchain launch this past week, they do native asset to native asset through their Thorchain nodes, through their Rune nodes. Um, but to my understanding, it's not as distributed or large of a network as RenVM's roughly 2,000 nodes that would eventually have decentralized custody of the assets. But it's basically an extra building block that'll unlock even more potential for Bitcoin on DeFi. So a great match for Badger's mission as well.
Sweet. Thanks, Frog. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, it's basically any operation on any chain can be done very quickly, and we do that basically by whatever the asset is that is the results coming out of that action. We hold in escrow dynamically, so you can do the trade or whatever you want right now, and then once your Bitcoin clears, it's released to you. So what that allows you to do, it removes price slippage risk over time. It just brings a lot of convenience to be able to do those actions up front. And it's built on Ethereum layer 1 right now. Definitely open to looking to enable it for other chains supported by our NVM. Like I said, it's kind of taking out a part of the while I think solutions like Thorchain try to do some of this all in one stack, where combining RenVM, zero confirmation, and a decentralized exchange, it breaks out the parts of the stack so that the different components can be optimized and to the best of their ability. So that's kind of the angle, is we think that that confirmation risk component best lives as its own thing, where there's that's what the DAO will be kind of focusing on, is managing that confirmation risk. What fee do we need to compensate people for taking that risk? And like I said, it's price slippage during that time is like really the only risk that we're taking on. It's not like we're holding the assets in escrow. So if you sell Bitcoin for USDC, and that Bitcoin transaction never clears, we just sell the USDC back into Bitcoin. So nothing crazy, nothing crazy there. And if the price moved in an hour, that's why we're taking a fee. So hopefully that all washes out over time and provides good yield to the LPs.
Sweet. Yep, we'll have a channel in the general server for folks that are interested in learning more and have any questions for the team. But I think in terms of zero confirmation, that's a good summary. Should we open it up for questions from the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be shy, anyone. Come on up. just raise your hand. We'll bring you up. Curious to hear your Badger journey thus far. But we're open to chat about anything that's going on, anything in the news, anything Badger related. Yeah, don't be shy. Might be a quiet one today, guys.
Sweet, all good. Yeah, I guess if nobody has questions, we can wrap it up. But in terms of maybe helping inspire questions, we had the Yearn Vault launch today, the Badger Bridge launching very soon, and then the zero confirmation stuff. So if there's anything we could clarify on any of these major short-term initiatives, feel free to raise your hand and we'll bring you up. Otherwise, maybe we can wrap this up early.
We got Chad up here.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? Just curious, what are the inner workings of the Yearn Vault? How's it work behind the scenes? What's it doing with your stake?
It's based on the V2 infrastructure, so it optimizes a single deposit across a variety of different strategies. Some of the strategies that it runs, a traditional auto compounding curve strategy where it takes your curve rewards, sells them for underlying. It also has a compound leverage strategy where it takes a Bitcoin, borrows against it, levers up, borrows against it to a certain threshold. It also deposits in one of the strategies is Mushroom Finance. A fourth strategy is Idle Finance. And the fifth strategy, if I'm not mistaken, is Aave. So there's 5 different strategies. And the cool thing about it is, you could have up to 20. So you may have seen something last week where Jörn was talking about on the weekend, hey, we identified a new farm that's doing like 500% APY. We evaluated the code. We, added it as a potential strategy, and now it helps juice up the APY of the overall vault because a percentage of the deposits are going into this super high APY farm that they feel confident with the code base for. This is going to continue to happen. So there's just going to be more and more strategies, some that are like that, some that are, more, more traditional to the ones that already exist, right? Maybe leveraging some existing protocols and optimizing yield on those specific protocols. But nonetheless, that's the benefit of this type of vault is the strategies are going to evolve. There's going to be times of higher APYs, times of lower, but for the most part, based on the results to date, at least with the vault in testing, and we've seen organic APY between 10 and 20%, which in essence makes it one of the highest organic APY in all of DeFi on ETH for a single deposit Bitcoin vault, because most of the other vaults that you see are almost exclusively rewards from the protocol, right? So really that doesn't scale with capital. If there's $10 billion in there, the APY goes down a large amount. So that's what gets me fired up about this as well. Of course, we're going to have Badger and DIGG rewards on top, and it's just going to allow this vault to be very capital efficient for the DAO versus having to rely on juicing up quite a bit of the rewards ourselves with juicing up quite a bit of the APY ourselves with rewards.
Awesome.
Yeah, and to add on to that, what that basically means for the user is that they won't have to deposit and withdraw from vaults as APYs go up and down. They can stay in the WBTC vault and basically leave it up to Yearn to hunt down the native APY, native returns for vault depositors. So basically making user experience again more seamless.
Sweet, guys. I think we can wrap it up if nobody else wants to come up and have a chat.
Sure. I guess one last point on that. There, as folks may have seen on the announcements on the tweets, there's a cap for this launch, but over the next couple of weeks, that cap will be lifted, and everyone will have a chance to try out the vault as well.
Totally. Alrighty, let's wrap her up. Thanks everybody for joining. We'll see you guys next Friday if you'd like to join again. Probably have a couple more things to talk about as well, and exciting times ahead.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
All right, everyone. Ciao.
Have a good one later.